You have found us, the number one podcast for you, those that get up every day and get after it, bringing to fitness to those around you. Sometimes, whether you know it or not. Today, Kim, I got some important things to talk about.
Could we please also cover the not so important things?
Oh, I pulled some not so important things too. This is really not so important as well. But it's about bringing fitness full circle. Fitness as the way that I do it with physical fitness. We got risk fitness, the way she does it, but we got spiritual fitness, we got emotional fitness, wealth fitness, health fitness, all the different ways that we bring people together through fitness. This is your podcast.
That's right. Welcome.
Kim, in today's podcast, we talked about the importance of getting your beauty sleep and how it may also be getting your heart healthy sleep too, says the American Heart Association. And they know what they're talking about. And also, I need you to do this. Go home, check your priceless works of art, because they found a 2-for-1 special on a Van Gogh in Scotland.
A 2-for-1 special?
Yep, I will talk about what that means. And it would not be a Fitness Full Circle podcast without the pop culture pop quiz. I've got one lined up for my special co-host and also special guest, Kim Aker from Aker Insurance. And she's going to break down the things that you might know and might not know about what she does. And also I asked her, hey, if you're insurance queen for a day, what are a couple things that you would change as well? That's all coming right up. Hey, let's talk about coffee shops around here, right?
Okay.
And what I want to do, I want to play a little game this time. I want to talk about Coffee Oasis versus everyone else. What do they have? What does everyone else have?
Okay, let's do it.
So let's start with the easy ones.
Okay.
Coffee.
Check.
Both sides. Coffee Oasis and everyone else. Pastries. Yes, everyone's got pastries. Yes. Sandwiches.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, free Wi-Fi. Okay. Yeah, both places. Maybe places you could sit.
Access to a restroom.
Yeah, access to a restroom, indoor plumbing. You know, basically all the same things you can get at Coffee Oasis, you can get anywhere else. But
Brett, the question is, at those other coffee facilities, can you get sustainable shelter and housing for at-risk youth?
I don't believe so.
How about clothing? Do they also offer clothing at those other coffee shops?
You could probably buy their t-shirts, but not for free, no.
Okay. Free meals and, other activity programs, a safe place to go for youth in the area?
Not that I can think of, huh?
Okay, well, what about job training, counseling, those services? Are those available at every coffee shop you can get your coffee at?
Probably not free services like the Coffee Oasis.
Okay, so there are some major differences between going to get your coffee from Coffee Oasis and then just choosing that other brand.
Exactly. And that's why we say that where you get your coffee may not mean much to you, but it means everything to them and the programs that they support.
That's right.
Yeah, because Coffee Oasis is about restoring community through positive outreach and their coffee business.
So if you're going to go get a cup of coffee or some lunch, or maybe have a business meeting somewhere and you're looking for a place to go sit down, you might recommend the Coffee Oasis.
Absolutely.
Our unofficial sponsor, by the way.
That's correct.
That's why we're talking about them.
Great job.
Hey, man. Shh.
The listener comments keep pouring in. We'd love it. Feedback is fantastic. Scotty from Silverdale, he said, I want to be on your podcast. There it is. I said it.
Ooh, yep. Scotty.
And Scotty, we're probably going to make that work because we're going to have some episodes coming up here in the near future that we're going to need to fill. And if Scotty or anybody else might be interested in the Fitness Full Circle podcast, we would love to have them, because there's going to be a time in the next few months where you're going to take a bit of a break, and I'm going to look for a substitute co-host.
That's right. We are going to be taking applications for substitutes while I'm on maternity leave. So I don't know if you can tell through the camera, it adds 10 pounds, but my 10 pounds are right here because I'm having a baby girl in just about 9 weeks.
That's awesome. Yeah, so cool. So Scotty, you're going to get your title fight. Stay tuned. We're going to get you in there. Mark from North Carolina, he said, is anybody available to chat? And that's all he said, Mark. That's all Mark said.
You know, somebody, Brian said that too to us on a call, like on an actual like message.
Maybe it was Brian. I thought it was Mark, but it was Brian from North Carolina.
Oh, it was Brian.
Yeah,
Okay,
Brian.
I responded, and Brian, you never got back to me. So I was available at that moment to chat. I got back to you within probably 60 seconds. So if you want to chat with us on our social media page, there's a good chance I could be there.
Because we were there. And I was actually proud of you. You responded that quicker than I did. I looked at it and I was like, oh, Kim's already all over it. I'll just pretend like I didn't see it.
You can't even get his name right.
So. But yeah, Brian, yes, we are available to chat. And thank you for asking that.
Yes.
I wouldn't call that a comment, but it's still feedback nonetheless.
We're here.
Courtney from Bremerton, she said, I listened to all 11 of your podcasts. They are so funny. But you know, she also said Brett talks really fast, and I thought I accidentally turned up the speed instead of the volume. So, I'm trying to figure out how the software allowed that to go in, because it was a very hurtful comment.
You know, when I was a kid, I used to speak way too fast, and maybe it was the broadcast training or just the years of being embarrassed about how fast I spoke.
Yeah,
and learned to slow down.
Did you?
You just need some practice.
That's it, Courtney. I'll have to apologize to you for that. My mouth moves twice as fast as my brain, so I'm really just trying to keep up. So that's honestly how that's happening. I recognize that, and I'm working on it. So
he recognizes that,
and I'm working on it both. But no, you don't have to turn the volume, the speed down. Is it one of those things like where you turn it up and you sound like a chipmunk, and then you turn it down, it's like,
oh, I wonder if people are watching us in like slow motion just to get what you're saying.
They could be, right? If you play it backwards, it says Ringo is dead, you know. We're gonna have to test this out. We're gonna have to see what happens. And then it would not be a Fitness Full Circle podcast if we didn't get feedback from the #1 fan, Pam. And she says she's loving her #1 fan t-shirt. And if you go to our Facebook page, you can see her donning that proudly, her Fitness Full Circle t-shirt.
And not only is she wearing that t-shirt, but I took that photo, which I'm pretty proud of.
That was a phenomenal photo. And you know, keep those listener comments coming. Kim, show everybody what they get.
Oh yes.
What they get entered into if they do this.
Check this out. This could be yours.
Yes. Fitness Full Circle, nice t-shirt for leaving a comment, whether how great we are or the things that you want me to improve on. Kim, I never get comments where it's like, Kim should do this differently, but everyone's always so quick to say, you talk too much, you bulldoze this, you talk too fast now.
Maybe our system automatically just deletes all of the.
Is that
how
the software works?
I'm sure people are saying things about me to do better, but it's just automatically deleted. So.
Yeah, and I play. I have thick skin, so I'm okay. I just, like I say, I recognize that my mouth goes twice as fast as my brain, and my wife Chelsea will attest to that.
Yeah, well, I couldn't do the show without you, literally. So
yeah,
just take the criticism and learn from it, and keep getting better, man.
I'll do my best. I'm going to start slowing down when I talk.
That's a great idea.
I will work on that.
I'm going to start slowing down when I talk.
Sleep your way to a healthier heart, says the Washington Post. That was for you, Courtney. We're good. You started this.
Oh no.
So I got this great story, Kim, out of the Washington Post. It's talking about sleep and the importance of sleep. And this is something that we've known for a while, but what I really like about this is the American Heart Association has actually come out and said verbally now that sleep is so important. And they initially had 7 keys of cardiovascular health. It was maintaining a healthy weight, not smoking, staying physically active, eating a healthy diet, and keeping your blood good in terms of blood pressure, cholesterol levels, blood sugar levels. But now they've corrected and created an additional component called sleep. And so the amount of sleep you get is so important. And one of the things that I hear a lot, and what I do is people say, well, I can function on 6 hours of sleep, or I can function on 5 hours of sleep, which is fantastic. You can function. but can you flourish, right?
Ooh,
Flour-
functioning
that's
versus
Flourishing, absolutely. And so, but it works for a lot of stuff. Lack of sleep puts people in higher risk conditions, diabetes, obesity, blood pressure, lots of other things.
Even your immune system is better if you get a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
right?
because you're going to sleep. Your body's going to heal. It's going to repair itself. It's going to do all the things it needs to do during that time in order to be better.
Yeah, recharge those batteries.
Yeah. And what they suggest, what the AHA suggests, which is a phenomenal organization. In my former life, I did a lot of work with the American Heart Association. But they say that adults should get 7 to 9 hours of sleep daily.
Okay.
And actually there's some studies that even shown that 7.5, like the 7.5, like the 13.5 listeners, 7.5, 7.5 hours of sleep is actually that much better than 7 hours of sleep. There's been a lot of studies that have shown that.
Interesting.
Between 7 and 9, teenagers need to get 8 to 10, not 12 to 14, 8 to 10. And then they also said that 6 to preteen is 9 to 12. And little Johnny, he gets to sleep the day away. 10 to 16 hours is what they're suggesting.
10 to 16 hours.
Children 5 and younger, 10 to 16 hours of sleep. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. He goes to bed about 8:30 to 9 o'clock, and he wakes up anywhere between 7:30 and 8. So I think he's getting about that much.
Nice. Good.
Yeah.
Good. And so if you want to know more about that, first of all, they can talk to me. I am not a sleep expert, but I do know how that works for fitness. I'm a fitness consultant. And so glad to talk to anybody more about those 8 characteristics, or, if they wanted to circumvent me, they could go to the American Heart Association website. And they have an online tool for people that are interested in checking their cardiovascular health, and the risks that they face. So, and I'll drop that in the comments where they can go and do it online if they didn't want to talk.
Well, there's so many things you can learn online, but when you have an expert that's prepared to tell you about them and talk through them with you and do a customized plan, why wouldn't you just choose that?
But, that's what I think too.
Cool.
I'm gonna go with you on that.
Yeah. Okay. Is it time?
It's time, yeah.
Right. I want to know about the not so important things.
I know this is actually harder to find, to be honest with you. And what makes it so hard is that there's so many not so important things in the news that to cipher out the best of the not so important is impossible. But I thought this one also can be important as well for those of us that are listening that own priceless works of fine art.
Fine art.
Yep. They just found a 2-for-1 special. We talked about that. On the back of a Van Gogh painting, they found via X-ray, they found another Van Gogh painting.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. A hidden, never before discovered Van Gogh painting, self-portrait of himself, was discovered on the back of a painting. It was called, on the painting, that was the head of the peasant woman. That was cleverly named, I suppose. I'm guessing the painting was ahead of a
years ahead of its time.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, on the back of it, there was what's believed to be a self-portrait of himself that they found when they X-rayed the painting. And so the explanation on that is Van Gogh was the original starving artist. And so instead of buying a new canvas, he would just flip his canvas over and then do something on the back side of it.
Interesting.
Yeah. You know what the unique thing about this is, though?
What?
They were able to kind of date when he did this, because Van Gogh was a bit of a special type of eccentric artist, as if many artists are, but he did something a little unique.
He cut his ear.
He cut his ear off, right?
Yeah.
When in Paris, he was actually living with another painter called Gogh. And when he was going to, Gauguin got tired of Van Gogh's crap. He was going to move out, and in protest, Van Gogh showed him and cut his ear off. Wow. I know. That is told him. And so anyway, the unique thing about this painting is, in this painting, they're dating it before Paris because Van Gogh has both ears.
Fascinating.
Fascinating, right?
So he like literally kept the painting on the backside, or did it fade away?
No,
Like
the thing is all jacked up now. It's got glue, it's got cardboard, it's got all kinds of stuff on it. It's been butchered since it's been done. And so the museum that has it now is kind of putting together a team of experts to figure out, do they try to extract this
like
painting?
remaster it.
Yeah. Do they clean it up, or do they just leave it as the X-rayed image? Because you can go to book your tickets now for this art fest in Royal Scottish Academy, because it's going to be on exhibition between July 30th and November 13th. Wow. You might have to travel with child if you want to go to this, Kim.
Oh, no,
but it's an especially crafted light box that will make the X-rays visible.
Wow.
Yep.
That's crazy. And who thinks to do that? Who's just like, I'm going to X-ray this art and just see what happens?
Oh yeah, everyone's pulling paintings off their wall right now.
Oh my gosh.
Throwing them through an X-ray machine, taking them to the airport. Like, hey, can we?
This is some national treasure stuff right here.
Did you just go to the TSA and put it on the conveyor? I mean, how do you X-ray this thing if there's another painting on the inside?
I'm gonna go back to all my old photos and just see like my parents do anything cool like that.
Yeah, exactly. I know. So go see Van Gogh with both ears.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I told you it was not important.
A double-eared Van Gogh.
Yeah, not important at all. If you have been even one listener of one show, you would know that our guests have to go through something called the Pop Culture Pop Quiz. And so since Kim, the co-host, is typically the one that is faced against such said contestant guest, you're playing both roles.
Oh. So
I didn't think that it was fair to let you get away without the Pop Culture Pop Quiz.
I mean, I'll at least get second place.
Yeah. Well, then the rules are still going to apply to you. You got to get at least second place. And I'm going to pick the topic of my choosing. Yep. And you're going to have to answer 10 questions. And again, you're going to, 10 questions, but we're going to do this a little bit differently. For the first time ever with Fitness Full Circle Podcast, you are going to be against a timer. You're going to have 5 seconds to answer these questions.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So
I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried.
I picked a random topic. This random topic is Friends trivia. Chew on that, right?
I'm so excited that you said that.
Yep. For those that will hear it in the bio, Kim is an expert in Friends and all things Friends. So we're going to put her to the test on this one. I just got to get my timer here.
And you didn't see my bio till this morning, so you just knew this about me. I must talk about Friends.
I already knew. Okay, so we're going to do 5 seconds. You're going to have 5 seconds to answer.
Okay.
Instead of listening to the timer go off, I'm just going to tell you the time's up. But I don't think you're going to have any problem. I pulled out some doozies though. So we're going to check this out.
5 seconds.
Okay.
Breathe.
Are you ready?
I guess so.
Okay. In which city did Friends take place?
New York City.
Wrong.
What?
Manhattan.
That's all the same place?
I don't know anything about New York.
I mean, it's all one and the same. Brooklyn's also in New York City, isn't it? Or are those truly separate cities?
I don't know.
Okay,
well, I'll give you that one.
Okay.
Boy, you're off to a crappy start.
Oh, man, that was
okay.
Technicalities.
How many seasons did Friends have?
10.
Okay. How many episodes total?
417.
No, 236. So, okay, we're good. I'm the score sheet. Okay, everybody knows, including myself, that Phoebe was an accomplished guitar player. Which of her songs turned into a video?
Smelly Cat.
Smelly Cat, you got that. You're on it.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of Phoebe, how many siblings does she have?
She has 2 siblings.
That is incorrect.
No, she has a twin sister named Ursula, and she has a brother that she found out about from her dad that came up later on.
I'm not going to argue this with you because you obviously know that. I only knew about the twin sister.
Yeah, she comes up and she ends up finding her biological brother later on.
Okay. And I was going to hit you with the bonus question, which what was her name, but you already included that. So nope, I'm not even gonna try to argue that with you, because obviously you know. Okay, so who marries Joey?
Oh my gosh. Well, he does not actually married any. I mean, nobody.
Winner. That was it.
I was like,
He was the only one that isn't wed. He did have his main squeeze.
yeah, he had a long-time girlfriend before, but I was like, no, they never got married.
They never got married.
Okay.
No. And Joey is known to be selfish when it comes to what?
Food.
Food is right. Boom. Who was Monica's first kiss?
Ross.
Rachel.
No, it was okay. Well, she thinks it's Ross because he thought he was kissing Rachel at a party that they had in college, but in fact, he was kissing his own sister because he says, "Oh my God, you were my first kiss with Rachel," and she says, "Oh my God, you were my first kiss." So, sorry.
I'm not going to argue that with you. I have nothing to go off of here other than me looking up random trivia.
I feel bad that I'm like conflicting all the data right now, but
how many times was Ross married?
three times.
3 times Ross was married. And the last one, what was the show Friends initially called? It wasn't called Friends at first.
It was not. It was called something else, and you've stumped me. I forgot.
It's called the Insomnia Cafe.
That's right.
And it was supposed to be a drama.
Oh my gosh.
But you crushed it, lady. Oh my gosh. You even were smarter than the Friends trivia people that I stole this from. Okay. Well, then that does it.
Well, and I truly hope that can correct one answer for Ross. Truly, in the show, he's only married 3 times, but at the very end, him and Rachel get back together. And my prayer is they get remarried and are married a total of 4 times for him at some point and twice for themselves. But that's what I hope.
Well, that's fantastic. So we know that our listeners are vast. We even have people in North Carolina like Brian. So maybe if somebody's a writer for the former Friends show, maybe consider putting that in. Or, you can even contact the Fitness Full Circle podcast, and she'd be glad to sit down with you and give you some ideas for writing that episode as well.
Yeah, Marta Kaufman, David Crane, Kevin Bright. I would love to work with you. Any sort of Friends thing you're trying to do.
Yeah. So there you go. Making connections. Well, she did it. She dominated it is what she did. The pop culture pop queen still regains her title. She got not only first place, but second place in this one, which is amazing. The first one to do this in Fitness Full Circle history. So Kim, you know what happens now. That brings you to your bio. We get to go to your bio.
Oh, you introduced me.
I get to the pleasure of introducing you, which I'm going to do at an appropriate speed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Courtney will be pleased.
She will be pleased. So this starts off, you have a BA in communication from WSU. Go Cougs.
Thank you. Go Cougs.
Yeah. Another thing that wasn't put on here was that you also graduated from South Kids High School. Go Wolves.
Go Wolves.
I know. I know. So much in common. We graduated almost in the same class. Yeah.
Just a
Yeah.
few minutes apart.
Yep. But you also lived in Seattle for 10 years. You worked for CBS Radio, what makes you the phenomenal co-host that you are. Alaska Airlines Magazine and West Rock Paper. And when you first told me about that, I kept thinking rock, paper, scissors, but we'll just call it West Rock Paper. Yeah. That's a weird game to play. How do you play West Rock Paper?
Yeah, you corrugated boxes, man.
That's how you do it.
You slam those boxes all over Washington.
And then you got married to an amazing gentleman named Ryan in 2017. Fantastic guy. And then you guys got the first child in 2019. Yeah. My man Johnny.
Yeah.
And then you also did something different in 2019. You pivoted careers and started working in insurance, which has now led to the Aker Insurance Group, which is absolutely phenomenal. You live in KPN. You purchased a house in 2020, and then opened your new office just recently. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
April of this year.
April of this year. And then you, as you alluded earlier in the podcast, are expecting a second child. Yeah. A girl this time.
A little girl.
Yeah, a little girl in a couple of months.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, yeah, like 9 weeks.
So I want to welcome you as a guest to our podcast.
Thank you. It feels good to be sitting in the guest seat for once.
Yeah, I know. It's a little bit off of center.
Yeah.
Not where you typically sit. So Kim, we wanted to, typically we run our guests through a particular format, but we've been through this. And so I wanted to do something a little bit special. And I contacted you this weekend to talk about it. And I wanted to talk about maybe some things that people don't know about you. I mean, they know you're an amazing co-host and that you never do anything wrong. You don't talk too fast. You don't talk too much. You do everything perfect. And so, but what I think people don't really know about us, and what we really didn't want to do when we started the podcast is to make the podcast about us. But for today, I want to make the podcast about you. So what I'd ask you to do is to give me some top 5 or top 10 or top however many you had, things that you want people to know about you and what you do as it relates to Aker Insurance Group.
Sure. That's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want people to know that I actually truly love to compare coverages for couples that are getting married for the first time, starting their lives, buying their first house, like all of those kind of beginning stages of life. I think it's actually really fun for me. Insurance is fun for me to actually go through those. Because a lot of times in those situations, it's the first time you've really, as an adult, taken that, responsibility together to combine everything and learn, what coverages are actually important for your family that you're starting and things like that. So I want people to know that I have fun with insurance and comparing options.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's typically, absolutely zero disrespect, it's a boring thing to think about, right?
It's a boring industry.
Yeah.
In general, I think a lot of people avoid insurance conversations just because of the stigma behind that. Is it's just money you have to spend on something, and oh gosh, I don't want to spend money on something that I might not ever potentially need, but on those days that you really need it, it's quite important to have it. So I don't want to be that back burner on your to-do list. I try to make it as fun of a situation as possible. And that's been kind of the commentary and why I think that I've been so successful so early on in this career, is that, not to say you can have fun in every insurance conversation, but I think for the most part, I bring, just a level of real conversation to it, and you can relax and have a good time just chatting with me about your options and finally understanding your options, maybe sometimes for the first time.
Sure. Well, let me, I didn't bring this up, but let me throw this conversation to the side just real quick. And I want to go back to this part. Why insurance? I mean, you have a myriad of different occupations that you did. I'm sure your life goal was not to be an insurance agent. How did you arrive at being an insurance agent?
I love that. So you're right. When I was in high school, I liked to do theater and things like that. And so for me, broadcast was my segue into turning that into a career. I'm comfortable on the camera. I'm not shy. I can, public speak, all those things. And so for me, going into broadcast communications was that outlet, thinking I was going to be maybe a news reporter someday or have my own radio show.
And who knew?
Who knew?
Who knew there would be the Fitness Full Circle podcast?
Well, I mean, like when you tapped me on the shoulder to say, like, do you want to do a podcast? It was like kind of a no-brainer to say that yes, I'll be the yes on that all day. So yeah, it was never in my sights that I would be in insurance, but shortly after Johnny was born, and I was still driving all around Washington selling boxes for the paper company in Seattle. So someone tapped me on the shoulder. They saw my resume on Indeed and just said, "Hey, have you ever thought about an insurance career?" And that was Eric Loverock. He was a guest previously on our podcast.
It was podcast 6, yeah.
Yeah. So Eric was just an instant friend, a great manager, a good mentor for me. And he just kind of started the conversation. Have you ever considered this before? And as we just talked more and more, he painted the picture of this is a career where I could really have some control of my time. I could really be closer to home, which is what I wanted when Johnny was born.
Yeah, as a young mom, for sure.
Yeah. And so it offered the flexibility. And then when I looked at the careers I'd had, sales, customer service, things like that. It made a lot of sense, because to me, insurance has never felt like sales. I'm not that good of a salesperson, to be honest. But when it comes to options and service and answering the phone, calling someone back, taking care of the people, that's what I do best.
Yeah.
And so for me, it's made a lot of sense.
And I think you're right on there, because, when I'd always had insurance, but I never really had insurance that I cared about. And I know I didn't have insurance that cared about me. And I think that was one of the key pieces that really led me to you, and to transfer all my insurance over, was the fact that I'm entrusting my risk to somebody who I care about and who I know cares about me.
That's, I would say, going back to your question of like, what are the 5 things I want people to know about my business?
Sure.
My confidence has really grown as I've been in this for a few years now, because I'm hearing client testimonies of their past experiences, other carriers, other insurance options, even other agents. Boy, there are a lot of people in our industry that just don't care so much. It's more transactional.
Yeah.
It's more just fast paced, quick, fast, easy. That's what we're selling it as an industry as a whole. Do it yourself online, write it up. But the truth is, if you don't have someone that truly cares, then when it matters most, or not even in a claim situation, but when when your team driver starts to take the wheel, and when you are looking at the rate that's going to go up with that sticker shock, adding that driver, having someone on the other end of that call that actually cares and gets it and wants to navigate the options with you and walk through that, I think it matters.
Yeah.
And I'm learning that I actually do care more than my colleagues, and I'll lose sleep at night when when something goes wrong, or I know that an underwriter missed something, or now all of a sudden it's affecting your policy. It's going, if you're not getting the ID cards, or you don't have the coverage in place when you need it, that'll keep me up at night. And I don't think that's true for your 1-800 number.
Not at all. And I think it's always evident why I choose you for my business. But yesterday specifically, I had bought a new vehicle. The salesman, a great friend of mine, posted it on Facebook, and Kim, you said, "Oh, that's great. Don't forget to give me your VIN so we can get that covered." Right. So always thinking about others, and always thinking about how that works. And while that may not have been the first thought in my head, it was definitely the first thought in your head. Great, you got a new vehicle. Let's make sure this thing is going to be covered.
Let's talk.
Yeah, for sure.
People always forget the insurance agent until like a month later, and they go, "Oh yeah, by the way, I bought this vehicle. I forgot to tell you about that." Yeah. Or I've added a new roof to my house, or a new level, or something that huge like that. And you're like, update your insurance agent so we can make sure you have the value covered.
And Kim, that's fantastic. How you got your start. Now, let's say that there's somebody else out there that says, Kim is the queen. Kim is the cutest. She's the sweetest. I would love to do what she does. I would love to help other people. How can people get involved? I mean, is that an industry that is that hard to break into? I mean, how could people be agents?
Yeah, no, I think that no matter what you're doing in your line of work right now, if you're not satisfied and you're open to a career in insurance, it's definitely worth looking into. And really, anyone can go online and get licensed, but if you have a good team around you, it's quite important. So I couldn't recommend Country Financial any more than I do right now. I believe green for Country and their training program. And so I would say reach out to me as a start if you are interested in jumping into the insurance line of business. I'd love to set you up with the same person that helped me get started. But also, my team will be growing itself. So even if you're not looking to be an agent yourself so much, but you would love to be an assistant, my team is growing. So there's always possible openings in the future on the Aker Insurance Group, as well as if you wanted to jump in head first and be your own agent. So yeah, it just starts with a conversation. So please let me know. It could not be more of a perfect industry for someone that likes to help people and get that work-life balance that so many of us try to have.
Absolutely.
So
So what else would people not know, or what else should people know about what you do?
Oh boy. Yeah, I think that it's important that people know also just an agent is so crucial to your story with insurance, because we are your advocate as the client. You know, I'm appointed with Country Financial. I run the Aker Insurance Group, but I'm here to serve you as the consumer. You know,
Mhm.
I am your advocate to work closely with the underwriters when you know, apply for a policy or we're trying to get something covered. I'm your advocate in calling the claims adjuster that's not calling you back in that situation, or, you know, if you're having communication issues, you know, the agent is here to support you. And that's, I think people oftentimes think I'm more on the billing side, or I'm more, you know, just trying to get that, you know, I can care less so much about chasing down your bill. I want to make sure that your bill's paid so that your insurance doesn't lapse. But really, I'm just here to be an advocate and a voice for the consumer. And I think as a, just not even just for me, but I want people to know that about our industry and about
Sure.
agents specifically.
That's great.
Mm-hmm.
So switching gears on this one,
Sure.
if you were insurance queen
Mm.
for a day, what are one or a couple of things that you would change about your industry?
Boy, I think I would want to change the stigma around mistrust in insurance. Just overall, I think that there's a lot of people out there that the first thing they'll say to me is, I just don't trust insurance agents. I just don't trust insurance. I mean, I can't change that perception so much, except for just, you know, my service, one person at a time, building that trust and that relationship together. But overall, that's been a hard one to overcome in this industry, is having to just get past those barriers people already have existing.
When they already come in defensive, when they already come in on that defensive, and then, it doesn't, and that's the great thing about you, is that you're not going to match defensive with defensive, because nobody gets anywhere
No one wins
with that. And so, yeah, I would agree with you on that one. I think that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Because everyone always knows somebody who had something go wrong, right?
Yeah.
Everyone always wants to tell the story of how, I call it the road to Hana, right? Everyone wants the shirt that says, I survived the road to Hana, when realistically it's a 14-mile bike ride where you don't have to pedal.
Yeah.
So it's not tragic, but everyone wants to tell the tragic story.
Mm-hmm.
What you don't hear a lot of is, you don't hear of, yeah, something happened and my insurance company, they got it all taken care of right away.
Yeah.
Because that's a boring story. Nobody wants to hear that story. My entire house flooded, my insurance company came out and it's all fixed and it's all better again. That's a boring story.
Yeah.
So yeah, they look for every way to deny my claim. That becomes the good story.
And that's the thing too, is I mean, for reviews, like you're a business owner now, you have 20 great reviews and then you have that one bad review, and like, what are they going to look at when they're looking at your reviews online? What will they pay attention to?
Mm-hmm.
And people that we're drawn as human beings just pay attention to the negative. And so I think for insurance, it's, if you said, the stories that are passed along are typically the stories that like where something went wrong, where someone dropped the ball, where so
that for sure.
Mm-hmm. So if I were queen for a day, the biggest thing I think I would do is I would make it more of a social norm and or a right, or maybe even something part of your insurance plan that you already have for health insurance or something, where like your children had the right to opt into life insurance from the start, and people knew about that, because it's so critically important to get life insurance on your children and yourselves when you're young like that, when you're the most healthy you'll ever be, before you grow up and develop the conditions and the illnesses and the bad habits that we all develop as people with choice. And so I think that if it was a right that each person had life insurance, God, that'd be a cool world.
Mhm.
I mean, because then when, when that tragedy happens and you lose your loved one or something goes awry, you're not going to see people run into the GoFundMe pages and to Kickstarters to help people pay for funeral costs. You're going to see, money just sitting there, set aside, already ready to go to take care of that burden, to help that grieving parent stay home from work for a year after the loss of a child, to see that that spouse be able to not have to stress about going back to work so soon when they're so brokenhearted they can hardly get out of bed. Like, that should be a right. I wish that was a right that we had. If I was queen for a day, I would give everyone life insurance while they're still healthy.
Yeah.
And that's why I have insurance on my son early on, because he will never be denied for life insurance as he has his own family. When my grandkids are born, no matter what comes his way, what he chooses to do with his life, he will always have something as a protection in the back. Plus, there's the cash element to that. So they, then when you're in college and you need $5,000 for books or for your car or whatnot, you actually have that saved up because your parents did that for you, or because your health insurance did that for you when you were a kid. That'd be such a cool world.
That's awesome. That does sound like an amazing world.
Wouldn't that be
Maybe
fun?
I'm gonna have to find a way to elect you queen of insurance for a day.
We can guaranteed insurance policies
Yeah,
for
that
all
sounds
children
great.
of the world.
Sounds great. Kim, you're absolutely amazing, and it's kind of one of those things where I've wanted to get you on the podcast just because what you talk about is always so pivotal to me. I always enjoy listening to you talk about life insurance because it makes so much sense when you say it. Otherwise, life insurance, property casualty, any of that kind of stuff, it just makes more sense when you say it than just this risk thing, this roll of the dice. I'm gonna get insurance just in case something happens. And so it just makes more sense.
Well, I thank you for saying that. That's been one thing that I think is the missing element to this do-it-yourself online, or if you have an agent that doesn't care to chat with you or whatnot. It's the education piece of what your coverages mean to you. And a lot of consumers might not care. Maybe they're just like, it's just insurance. You're there when I need you, whatever. But the truth is, and what I've found in these conversations is that when you start to see like how it would apply to you in that situation, it kind of becomes cool. Like, you're like, oh, uninsured motorist protection is important to me because if I'm at my property having a barbecue on the side yard and a car drives into my property and injures me or my family, that's uninsured motorist protection. If they don't have insurance or they flee the scene, so you don't know what their insurance is, you weren't even near your own car. You were on your property having a barbecue or whatnot. That's still uninsured motorist protection. That's still a protection for your family. And in the event of a death or a situation like that, your insurance company will pay out immediately for that entire benefit of your uninsured motorist. And like, those are things people just don't know.
And I think for me in this stressful, busy world that we have, and that we're all in one way or another, I like the fact that I don't have to think about it. I don't have to care. If something bad happens to me, I'm just going to text you. That's really, I don't want to think about it. I got other stuff to think about. I got to worry about other stuff. I'm going to let you worry about my bad stuff.
Yeah. Well, that's fun, but make sure you text me on the good times too.
Yeah, we do that too. So speaking of texting, speaking of getting a hold of you, if people want to know more, and I really hope that they do want to know more about you and what you do, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I mean, please, like my lengthy URL will drop in the description here because I want to make sure people can see that. But I also am available on Facebook. So if you look on Facebook or LinkedIn and search Kimberly Aker, you will find me there. Kimberly Aker Country Financial will be my Facebook page, and we'll put the URL for that in here as well. Also, you could call my office in Port Orchard at 253-620-8018 is my office line. So you'll reach me or my assistant there. Yeah, it should be, I mean, you could find me on Pottery Avenue in Port Orchard too. So that's where we are. Although following COVID, it's really by appointment only. Especially being a busy working mom, about to have another kiddo, oftentimes I'm either on an appointment or working from home if I can. So,
and I suggest to to all the listeners, unless you have a best friend in the insurance industry currently, I have a best friend for you in the insurance industry. So I'd really like for people to think about that, or think about their insurance. And as always, anytime you go to the Coffee Oasis, anytime you visit or talk to any one of our guests, please let them know that Fitness Full Circle sent you, that you're a Fitness Full Circle family. And that's just really important to Kim and I when you go out and you work with these folks, because they are all amazing people that we bring on the podcast, especially yourself, Kim. So thank you so much for being the podcast 12 co-host and special guest.
You betcha.
Yeah, we look forward to podcast number 13. We will have another co-host guest, myself. And
I get to put you through the grinder.
You get to put me through the grinder. Yep. Fit or flop. And other than that, let's go out there. Let's patronize Coffee Oasis and give my friend Kim a call. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Have a good day.